Gambling addiction is more common than you might think. Whether you bet once a year on the Super Bowl or multiple times a day, understanding the risks and recognizing the signs of addiction is really important. Let's talk about what gambling addiction really is and what you can do if you think this hits close to home. Medically speaking, we define any addiction by using something called the DSM-5, a manual doctors, including psychiatrists, use to diagnose mental illnesses. The DSM-5 defines gambling disorder as gambling behavior that happens repeatedly and causing problems. It also has to meet at least 4 of these criteria. There's 9 total criteria that we look for. The first is tolerance. So they need to bet more and more money to get the thrill that they want. The second criteria is withdrawal. So this person might feel restless or annoyed when trying to reduce or stop gambling, especially when other people tell them to stop. Third criteria is that they've tried to quit. And they failed. So they tried many times to control, reduce, or stop gambling, but they haven't been able to. The fourth one is that they obsess. So this person might think about gambling a lot. This could include remembering past gambling, planning the next bet, or figuring out ways to get money to gamble. Fifth criteria is that they gamble to feel emotions. We'll say gambles to feel something. So this person might tend to gamble when they feel upset. They might tend to gamble when they feel happy, or they might try to feel better by gambling. Sixth criteria is that they chase losses. So this person goes back to gamble more another day, trying to win back money that they've lost before. Seventh out of our 9 criteria is that they hide. So they hide how much or how often they gamble from other people. Eighth criteria is relationships and personal life. So this person might have risked or even lost important relationships, or maybe a job or school or career opportunities because of gambling. And our 9th criteria is loans. So borrowed money. So this person might depend on financial help from others because of gambling debts. Let's go through an example and a quick story to see if this person has gambling disorder. Let's say I have a friend named Chris who bets on games about once a week to make them more interesting. He loses a little bit more than he wins, but like most other people, he tells you he roughly breaks even. He's convinced his knowledge of sports will eventually pay off, and since he recognizes the mistakes he's made in the past, he starts to bet a little bit more, increasing his unit size from $10 to $20 per bet. He says he was bored with betting $10 a game anyway, so he goes up to $20. He studies betting almost every day, so you believe him. You believe that this is going to work, and you think that his unit sizes aren't that big anyway. His finances and personal relationships are all really well managed, and his family and friends aren't concerned about his gambling. So does Chris have a gambling addiction? Well, let's look at which criteria he meets and which he doesn't. So the first one, tolerance, I would say that he does meet because he's gotten bored with his $10 bet size and has doubled that to $20 per bet. Withdrawal, we didn't necessarily get from that story, so we can't check that box. Tried and failed to quit. No, he's not trying to quit. Obsession, I would say yes. He does have an obsession. He studies betting frequently. He's planning his next bet. Gambles to feel something, not necessarily. We can't take that away from the story. But chasing losses, definitely. I would say he's increasing his unit size for more than one reason. One, because he's bored, and two, because he's been losing. So he's learned from his past mistakes, and now he's going to correct that with $20 unit sizes. And he hides how much he bets from other people. So it turns out that he meets formal criteria for gambling addiction. That might surprise you because that might sound familiar. But this person could potentially be diagnosed with gambling addiction. Some people are more prone to this than others. When you win a bet, and sometimes even when you place one, your brain releases dopamine, one of the feel-good chemicals. Your brain loves dopamine, but it also gets used to a lot of it being around, so over time it needs more and more dopamine to get the same feeling as before. This is a basic explanation for how building up a tolerance works. A really similar process happens with other addictive things. Drugs like meth and cocaine absolutely flood your brain with dopamine, producing a rush of euphoria and happiness and energy. That's why they're so addictive. All right, so we have a basic understanding of what gambling addiction is. Let's talk about how to manage it. Understand that watching this video isn't going to cure anyone of gambling addiction. My hope is that I can help with recognizing what is a problem and what isn't. Understand when betting has become a problem, realize there's help out there in the form of therapists and support groups, know that it's treatable, and set strict limits on yourself. Also involve your family and friends. Addiction is something a lot of people hide, but it's important to get all the support you can. We should also recognize that sportsbooks pretend to care about gambling addiction, but their ads just really play into it. The logo for responsible gambling on their sites is usually small and tucked away in a corner. Sportsbooks really need to be more upfront about what options there are for restricting betting and be flexible about what's restricted. Some people only have a problem with blackjack, for example. My final request is that if you think you have a gambling problem or even gambling addiction, please don't subscribe to my courses. Stop here at this free course and consider stopping gambling altogether. You'll find links to resources on this page. That is everything you need to know for an overview of gambling addiction.